What's up guys, in this video we're going to review the Archer D1x wireless shifter. I've been using the D1x now for probably about 4 or 5 months now, and it's been really impressive. What it does is it takes a regular cassette rear derailleur and everything and converts it to be wireless. You can pick any speed. You can go from 2 speed all the way up to 20 speed, and you use the app to actually pick which individual gear you want your derailleur to move to. So if you have a 12 speed cassette, you can pick which one it goes to each one. If you have a 9 speed cassette, you can pick which one it goes to, and it will shift to each gear every time. Now after you change your batteries, or let's say you recharge your batteries, you do not have to reset it up. It remembers your settings. Now, some of you may be wondering, why even have this design? I mean, what's the benefit? Are you solving a problem that doesn't exist? So a few benefits of this is actually it is future proof. So anything that any of the major manufacturers comes out with, this will work with it. So if they come out with a 15 speed cassette, you could actually use the same setup for them. Another huge advantage is the price. So, obviously the system is cheaper than your wireless setups, but also that rear derailleur. Think about it. If you get that rear derailleur and you rip it off, if it's an Axis or Di2, you're out $500, $600, $700. Where with this setup, if you rip off the rear derailleur, depending on which one you use, it's $150, $200. It's a lot cheaper. So I actually tried Archer years ago with their first generation they came out with. Well, with the first generation, really it was a flop. The buttons, they did not give any kind of feedback. You just press them. Sometimes I would accidentally shift 2 gears at a time and didn't realize it. Also, the shifter itself was slow. I mean, you'd click the button and so you couldn't really go through the cassette very well. And on a mountain bike, you want that to be quick. So they came out with a new system. They have better buttons now, and also the motor is a little quicker. So let's look at it. The way it attaches to the bike is actually it attaches to your chainstay right here. They come with straps, you can see right here, and on the back side it has these nuts here that will actually clamp the strap. Now you can use zip ties actually if you're in a bind. So if you're on a trip somewhere and something messes up, or you have to put it on a different bike and these are not the right size, you can actually just use regular zip ties. On the bottom here you can see I haven't cut mine flush yet. I have them still the same size there. All right, install is real basic. It's just one cable that you run through the shifter, and then it will attach to your rear derailleur, and then you use the app to actually pick how many gears you have, and then once again you go through and pick where you want that chain on each cog. They do have a feature also called overshoot. So let's say that you have a cassette that's wearing out and it's not quite shifting up. You can actually set it up where it will move the pulley just a little bit further and then move back. So it helps it push it up onto that cog that may be worn out, which is nice during this time period where supply chain is really messed up. So if you're waiting on that new cassette or new chain, you may be able to get a few more miles by using the Archer. Another feature is the Get Me Home feature, which you can pick which cog actually the Archer will move to when the batteries get too low to shift. So you can single speed at home in a gear that works for you. It also has a feature too, whenever you finish riding, when it's sitting still for about 15 minutes, it will shut off and you don't have to actually go in and turn it off. It uses 2 AA batteries, rechargeable lithium ion, and they last about 80 hours per charge, so you get a ton of use out of these batteries. Now the remote actually is powered by a AAA rechargeable battery. That one is a little bit annoying because you have to have these 2 little screws that you use a 1.5 Allen key to actually take them out. It's not very good when you're on the trail side and trying to change your battery right before a ride or something. You could lose the screws. They're really tiny. So that's somewhere that Archer needs to improve on. Now I have seen their newer remote through Bike Rumor, and you can see that it is actually USB rechargeable, which is awesome. It also looks a lot like the Axis rocker paddle, and I think that's going to be a lot better with ergonomics. All right, so the shifter itself actually uses you can use a flathead screwdriver. It has a little cap here, or you can use a 4mm Allen key. So if you're on the trail side and you have to throw some other batteries in there, you should have a multi-tool that can work on this. One thing I wish they would do with this, I wish it was tool free. I wish it just had some little grips on it where you could actually just grab it and loosen it yourself and pull it out. So you take off the cap here, and then your batteries will just slide out. Now on the bottom they have the indication on if it's going to be a plus or negative. Be sure you always have that in the correct orientation, or it could fry your motor. Something else I found a little annoying with it is actually just turning on the system. It has a button right here, and you just have to hold the button down for about 3-4 seconds, and then the shifter will actually power on. It will blink red, and that means it's ready to pair with your remote. What I would like for this to do, I wish the remote could actually turn this on. Similar to what Di2 and also Axis can do. With them, you just hit your shifter lever and it turns the motor on. So this is a little bit of a inconvenience, but it's not the end of the world. And then once again, when you finish your ride, if you have it set up where after 15 minutes of inactivity, it will shut off. So you don't have to turn it off if you don't want to. Now we've done a quick overview of this shifter, let's talk about how it actually performs. So the newer D1x Trail, the shifting speed is faster than the original model, but it's still nowhere near as fast as Axis or Di2. And check out this video where I did a review before.
SRAM axis, force rear derailleur here, and I just got some shifters here so I can show you, how much quicker the Axis is than the Archer. So you can hear the engine there taking a little while to go through the motion there of the Archer, and then when you go with the Axis, it's much quicker. See how quick that is? Much quicker.
So as you can see, the speeds are a little slow, and I was really bummed about that, especially on the mountain bike going through the single track, because you need to be able to dump a lot of gears when you come up on a turn or have any kind of mishap or anything like that. With this system, it was really slow to try to get through the gears. Now, there's a few issues with that, and one is the rear derailleur. On all of the newer mountain bike rear derailleurs, it's a 1-to-1 pull ratio, which means if the cable moves 1 millimeter, this pulley moves over 1 millimeter. The problem with that is with the Archer, when it pulls the cable, it's got to pull this pretty far. So if they could change the pull ratio or have a rear derailleur made for them that actually has a better pull ratio. So this is 1-to-1. The SRAM Road is actually a 1.4 millimeter. So this moves 1.4 millimeter compared to the 1 millimeter cable pull. That's a little bit better. So if they had someone like TRP or some other company make them a derailleur to speed up that shifting, that would be nice. A couple other things you can do to increase your pull ratio is the Wolf Tooth makes the tan pan. You can use that. Also, any kind of V-brake adapter. Anything that increases the pull ratio will help with the speed on that. Now, Archer has come out with sprint batteries, which is pretty awesome. And they are in my opinion, is what's going to save Archer in this situation. It's 3 smaller AA batteries that fit inside the shifter, and it gives it just a little bit extra voltage to move that motor a little quicker. Now, on the downside of it, you do lose some capacity as far as the battery life. With the original, you go about 80 hours. When you use the sprint batteries, it's about 24 hours. My opinion, that is a much better sacrifice. The sprint batteries is what changes the Archer to make it acceptable for mountain biking. Now I'll do a couple comparisons. I've used the sprint batteries with the tan pan, and you can see that it is much quicker than the others. And the speeds are really similar to what the Axis and the Di2 are.
Okay, just want to do a quick speed test so you can get a feel for the different speeds. All of these have the same pull ratios. This is going to be your regular batteries that come stock with them. This is going to be the sprint batteries, and this is going to be the sprint batteries with the tan pan to increase the pull ratio. So here's your stock setup here with the regular batteries that last 80 hours. So you can see there, not super fast. Now you go here to your middle one, which is going to be your sprint batteries. Much quicker there. And then you go to this one here, which is the sprint batteries with the tan pan. Much quicker. So this is going to be the quickest setup you can do with that. And like I said, that's why it'd be nice if they could have their own derailleur made.
All right, now the shifting ergonomics of the remote it does take a little bit of getting used to. And you can see here that actually what I've done is I'm using the Axis Matchmaker. This is by SRAM, and you can see here that that's how they connect the remote to the actual bars. And the reason why I went with the Axis is, I don't know if you can see it on the video here. If not, I'll put a picture up. but it moves this a little bit further away from the bar. Okay, so you have a little bit more of a gap. And the issue I was having with the Archer remote with this is when I would grab it, it was not enough room for my fingers to kind of fit around the bar right here. With this, would just move it down just a little bit where I had more room to get around the bar. So if you do run it, you may want to try using the Axis Matchmaker clamp there instead of the original. And like I said before, Archer also has that new rocker remote coming out as well, and that looks really nice. Archer also has what's called the DBR remote. This is for the drop bar bikes. Like if you're going to use the TRP Hilux single speed brakes, you can actually set it up where you can run any kind of speed 1x on a gravel bike, which is pretty cool setup. I actually have a 1x14 setup. I'll throw up the review video up here of that hack if you want to check it out. But that's the beauty of this system, is you have so many options that you can actually try. They also gave us a sneak peek of what's called the MDR system. This is just a little box that connects to satellite buttons. So you could also use this as well. If you don't like how the remote works with Archer, you can have the satellite buttons and connect them to anywhere on the bike you want. Now, if Archer could have a few things done to improve the system, they could really compete with SRAM. A few things would have to be like USB charging across the board, the shifter and the remote. Also have a derailleur made that increases the pull ratio, that makes the speed a little quicker. Have the remote actually turn the system on instead of the shifter down by the chainstay. Then I think that they could actually compete with SRAM and Shimano. Okay, really with Archer, the options are endless. If you think about it, I mean, they could make a small shifter that could be used for dropper posts or lockout levers or anything like that. So you could turn anything that is cable actuated into a wireless setup. So final thoughts is the Archer system, I think the future is bright for them. They do need a few things to make it work better, but now that they have the Sprint batteries, I'm going to leave it on my mountain bike now. So in the past, I was going to take it off because it was too slow. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button, share it with any of your friends who may be thinking about going wireless. Also subscribe to the channel, that helps out tremendously, and we'll see you in the next video.